Welcome back to the Public Pool Podcast. I'm Michaela Pascal and you're Jack O'Shea.
That's right.
I didn't think of a thing for you today, but yeah, you're Jack or whatever.
There's only so many things you can say.
There really is.
You know?
You speak for yourself, truly.
You do, and then eventually you're going to have to repeat some things, and then something sticks, and then you're just like, okay, we're just going with this. And people are going to say in the future, like, oh, you used to have a bit where at the beginning she would say, describe him in some, very illustrative manner. And
you know what? I'm just lazy. I'm gonna TBH.
I sprained my ankle this week, and
yeah,
my outlook on life is just like, what is time?
Yeah, the big guy went down this week.
Big guy went down.
And I knew it was going to happen.
I knew it was going to happen too.
But worth it.
It was so worth it. It is so funny how much I'm one of those people where, like, if I don't like exercise, I basically exercise, it's like my depression pill.
Yeah.
So if I don't exercise, like my body isn't getting like the chemicals it needs, and I feel like really like incapable.
Yeah.
And so like I can only have like a day or two of like laziness.
Uh-huh.
And this is like mandatory laziness. So it's like, it's really weird. I feel like very vulnerable.
Should I be like a physical therapist while you're on the couch and like give you little hand weights?
Well, you know my theory about physical therapy. My opinions of physical therapy.
You don't believe.
I think it's a complete scam.
Things Jack doesn't believe in is physical therapy, chiropractors, charity.
Yeah. I'm not even gonna say I don't believe in charity anymore. I large charity organizations are all corrupt. That's what I'll say, except for the Red Cross. Love you guys.
Love you guys.
Although they won't stop fucking calling me.
Because you got that blood.
I got that rare blood type.
You got that good.
And they make me do it. Like I'm like, shit, I got to go in. But it's like, if I go in 3 days, like, I don't know.
I know.
There's always guilt tripping me.
I know. I was gonna say they call you to be like, there's been a terrible accident.
No, yeah. They'll be like, hey.
You're like, okay.
They'll call me and be like, turn on the news.
Yeah.
You're needed. And then I track the thing and my blood ends up in like Santa Fe.
I know. I think that's the craziest thing. So Jack donates his blood all the time.
Yeah.
But you get to track your blood. You get to see where it went. And like,
great move by Red Cross.
Yeah. Cause honestly, that's a really good incentive. Cause it's like, it makes it personal. Like, where your blood went. You saved someone in Idaho.
They tell me the number of people too.
Yeah. That's awesome.
There'll be like 30 people.
Yeah.
I'm like, they didn't need that much then, huh?
Yeah.
You
give them like a drop each down.
Yeah. Little drop.
I said, here, down.
I wonder how people feel after they get my blood.
Yeah.
What
if like
a little neurotic?
I was going to say, what if like, have we ever really done, someone's got to have done a study. Everyone's doing a study at all times. But like,
I'm going to go as far as to say, I've probably read about whatever your pets suggest.
Probably. Yeah. But just the like, obviously we talk about like DNA and RNA all the time and how like RNA, like you evolve throughout your lifetime and blah, blah, blah. If you get someone else's blood, do you think that could affect something in your RNA? Like you could kind of evolve.
RNA.
I don't know.
But I know that it affects, that's what that whole, like the blood boy thing that they say for like Silicon Valley, like the tech giants, what they do is basically your blood, I think it's plasma is the real.
Yeah, plasma is the liquid gold, as they call it.
Yeah, where you can really tell how old someone is or how healthy someone is by it.
Yeah.
And so if you get like young, athletic, healthy plasma, you do feel and age differently. Like you are healthier.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It makes a ton of sense. So I just wonder if Lance Armstrong at his peak, if he got into an accident, he probably felt terrible after people. There's no way like
there's no one else. He got better blood than someone else.
It's worse blood no matter what. Like, damn.
But then every now and then you hear those stories about like, oh, someone got like an organ transplant from someone. Like I think I've heard one where it was like, I think a girl got, it was a major organ. Like it was like a heart or like maybe even a kidney. It was something like that.
And it was a biggie.
It was a biggie.
It wasn't like a spleen or appendix.
Yeah, or a little sliver of a liver.
It wasn't a little liver bitch.
No, it was a biggie. But she got this from a guy who had passed away or whatever. And she started taking on his hobbies.
Interesting.
Like she all of a sudden got really into like handiwork and stuff like that. And like his whole family was like, yeah, he like worked construction. He loved all this stuff.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden she's like, I want to work with tools. I want like, there's been instances of stuff like that where people have gotten like an organ transplant and like kind of taken on some sort of aspect of that person.
Yeah.
Well, which I'm like, that is fascinating to me.
It is. And what's weird is like, so it's, we've talked about it before, but like, I love how every now and then they'll be like like a study shows, and it's just something where we're all like, yeah. It's like study shows, like lizards have emotions. And
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, guys, everything does.
My favorite was a couple years ago when they were, it was probably like 10 years ago, actually, at this point. I love this more. I'm like, I'm getting old. It's probably like 10 years.
Yeah, it's like, oh, baby. Yeah.
Where they were like, by the way, we just did a study. Apparently fish do feel pain.
Yeah.
I was like, obviously they're a living thing.
Yeah, they're a living thing. Of course they do.
I always loved when people used to say that fish can't feel anything. I'm like, yes, they can.
Although I know that the one thing that they're like positive of, where it's like, this thing's basically a tree, is a jellyfish. Because they don't have brains, and they don't have any of the things that could possibly be like.
Yeah.
They're just more like, they're like robot, like see-through robots in the ocean where they just go.
Yeah.
You know, where the current takes them and they do stuff like that.
And don't they have like an interesting like life cycle where like, or maybe it's just
Some
some
do.
of them
There's
where
the,
they split and then
what's the term?
instead of dying, they just split.
The immortal jellyfish.
Yeah.
It can like D8. It can like take itself back to like being like an egg or some. I don't even know how jellyfish work.
So that's the future.
That's the future. And they've been trying to crack that, I think. But then they were like, we're not anything like jellyfish. So I don't really know how we get there. The point I was going to make though is it feels like right now, like Ozempic, all of those like, all that stuff, all it's doing is just messing with your gut.
Yeah.
And we've joked about in the past how like, you know, we've been waiting this whole time for there to be like, here's the side effects. If you take Ozempic, you go bald. Like just something long term that we're going to hear about. And it's the opposite so far has been happening, where it's like people on Ozempic no longer are addicted to gambling. And you're like, what? How is this possibly related? And it's like everything just seems to keep on becoming, hey, what happens in your stomach affects that. Your stomach's your brain.
Well, they've been saying that for a while now, where like the stomach is your second brain.
Yeah.
It's like that's where the idea of a gut feeling comes from.
Oh,
you know, like where it's like you feel something and you're like something's not right. It's your it's like your animal instinct where you're like I'm scared. I'm put off for some reason.
It's why I have to pee the second I'm in hide and seek.
Yeah. It's your gut feeling.
It's my gut feeling is I should have peed, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. And I just feel like over the next 10 years, there's gonna be a million things where it's like, yeah, we already figured that out. But like, turns out your stomach is like really important to like your sleep. And it's like,
turns out.
I mean, I assume so at this point.
Yeah. I always love how like half of our podcast is always like, so this week Timothy Chalamet did this and then sports. But then I feel like there's always a big portion of it where we're like, we kind of go Joe Rogan for a second where we're like, this fascinates us.
Well, there's a reason why Joe Rogan's so popular.
I guess.
It's because
I can just never tell if people actually want that from us or not, because we talk about this stuff all day, every day.
I think it's, I mean, I like to think if we're interested in something, then people who like us would be interested in it too.
But also, I guess we live in the great age of fast forwarding.
That's true.
Mm-hmm. So you can just skip past shit you don't care about.
I am the king of fast forwarding.
Me too. Whenever I'm like, listen, it's so fun. I listen to very few podcasts that are like led by men.
Yeah.
Like if there's two men,
you don't
co-hosts.
like. What was the time you said? Oh my god!
I don't want to listen to men talk.
Yeah, we were listening to a podcast. You're like, I don't want to listen to men talk.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's so offensive. It's like that's like so sexist.
Sometimes I've just had enough. Look,
I get it.
And listen, I love men. I
do.
But sometimes if I'm, you know, in the comfort of my own headphones, I've had enough.
I'm not going to say the same thing about women.
No.
Because I'm a feminist.
Yeah.
I think it's, you know, I think men should stop talking. I think what we need to learn how to do is listen. You know, it's not my turn anymore.
Yeah. I mean, that's what Logan Paul just did on his new show, apparently, where he was like, I'm gonna say it, guys. Women have it really hard.
Wow. Good for him.
And that's why we follow the Pauls.
That's why we're big Paul people.
Yeah.
We're the Paul people.
You know, I actually really haven't seen too much from their reality show, but I actually think it'll do well. It's on HBO.
You want to talk about like a glow up, and by glow up I mean like a very subtle glow up. Mm-hmm. All the negative Logan Paul stuff from like 8 years ago. Mm-hmm. In my head, he's great connotations when I think of Logan Paul. I'm like, he seems like a great guy.
Jake is the one where it's a little bit more like, yeah, he does what he does.
Well, Jake's on a lot of steroids.
Yeah. And I think he is more the wild child in general. But yeah, I definitely give Logan credit. Like, I think, because at first I used to always be like, but it's like, you know what? He did start with being like, I make content for kids. Yeah. And then he kind of like moved on from there. And I think it's easier to get into scandal when you make content for kids, because obviously you can cross a line so much easier.
Yeah.
But no, I think he's actually had a really good turnaround with like, no, he's in WWE. He had very successful podcasts. Yeah. He, you know, like he's done a lot where it's like, no, good for him.
The funniest thing was when he joined WWE. Yeah. I just remember seeing all the WWE fans be like, what? This is bullshit. And then like 6 months later, they're like, fucking hate him. He's really good at this.
Yeah.
So, and then like 2 years later, like, he should be the champ.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, and it was a very slow turn. Like there was never like a, hey, new Logan, who dis?
You know, I
it's just gradual.
I always root for creators in traditional spaces, I think, because I'm like, that the way is up. So
I just love Jake Paul being like, I'm going to be a boxer. Like there's something really funny about that. It's speaking of the boxer thing, because we've been talking about the Mickey Rourke situation on Celebrity Big Brother.
Yes.
Mickey Rourke was the original Jake Paul.
Yeah.
Do you want to explain what's happened with Mickey Rourke, or do you want to talk about it or no?
Yeah, no, we can talk about it. So I'm actually not watching it. I for some reason, I'm a huge Big Brother fan, but I never watched Celebrity Big Brother.
It's different.
It's
a totally different vibe.
Because you could just tell that it's different. They're getting special treatment versus what they would actually put a real cast of people cut off from the world.
And half of them really need this to save their careers, and half of them don't. It's this weird, awkward kind of like, if I lose, I lose.
Yeah, there's not really the urgency of like, man, I really need the money or whatever.
Yeah.
But so I'm not watching, but I guess so Mickey Rourke is on this season, and so is Jojo Siwa.
Yeah.
And he
Jojo.
But so basically like he's just been asking her some questions. He's been making a lot of comments to her and like other people, and like Jojo Siwa was really patient with him in the beginning. Like I give her a ton of credit. Like he was kind of like asking about like drag queens and stuff like that, and she was like really she was like really explaining stuff to him and like being patient and being like, you know, as long as what you say comes from good intentions, like you're allowed to say like the wrong thing, you know, like she was doing really good at like trying to explain stuff to him.
Like half the conversations we have are me being like, now I know these are a bunch of words I'm not supposed to say, but I need to know what they mean.
Yeah.
So what does this mean?
Yeah.
And then I know.
Yeah. And so it's like, I could definitely tell she was like, no, like I'll teach you. But
which she should be. Talk about working with kids. You gotta be patient.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'm a big JoJo Siwa fan.
We're huge JoJo stands.
Yeah, we're JoJo stands. JoJo with the Bobo.
Yeah.
But then he just like started to like say a lot of off-putting things. I'm trying to remember everything he said, but like I know at one point he kind of asked her to like walk somewhere with him or whatever, and like he kind of asked like, so do you like girls or boys? And she was like, I like girls. And then
girls or boys.
And then he was like, oh well, I'll tell you if I'm here in a couple days, like that'll change or something like that. And she's like, I don't think so.
And he said,
like,
look at my face.
He said like, I'll tie you up and something like, and it was like, what? Like,
why are we kink shaming Mickey Rourke? Why are we kink?
You know,
I thought you miss all the shots you don't take.
Clearly he has his whole brain together, you know? But just a lot of stuff like that kept happening where it's like, hey, you can't really like threaten to tie up a girl and, you know.
No, you really can't.
No, especially when there's a lot of cameras everywhere.
Yeah, that's why when you told me that, I was like, and he's still on the show?
Yeah.
Because there was one time, a couple seasons, we watched regular Big Brother a couple seasons ago where a guy like week 2.
Also, if you guys don't know what Big Brother is, it's a
reality show.
It's a reality show where it's basically you put a bunch of people in a house, they're completely cut off from the outside world, and it's like Survivor but inside.
Yeah. So once a week, one of them is voted out of the house. It's the standard reality show format. But there was one guy who like week 2 of the season, he like accidentally said the N-word, but like it was in a very grazing by it way, if I remember correctly.
I'm trying to remember.
Like I remember him going like, "Oh shit!" Like it felt weirdly. I remember watching him be like, like you can't do that. But also, I feel like he was. It's like there was the same thing happened in baseball a couple of seasons ago. Do you remember this?
No.
One of the play-by-play guys was talking about how they basically just opened up. I think forget if it was its own museum or if it was in the Baseball Hall of Fame, like a wing. But it was for the Negro leagues. Because that was the black baseball league.
Yes, I do remember this.
And he said, it's an amazing exhibit. Everyone should go see the Negro leagues exhibit. And the whole debate was, the way he said it, it sounded like it was kind of the blue dress, gold dress thing.
Yes, where it, like if you are listening for it, you could hear him say the N-word.
And the biggest thing was, everyone agreed, there's no way he meant to say it.
Yeah.
He was flying through. This is like, a guy was about to go up to the plate, so he was trying to finish his thought. Okay, now batting like this guy. And he ended up getting fired. And the reason he really got fired was because the Oakland A's are the cheapest team in the world. And we're like, hell yeah, fire that guy.
Yeah.
We'll hire somebody and pay him $12. That's why they fired him. But it was kind of like that situation in my memory where I was like, that sucks, but you're out. And the kid's out immediately. Mickey Rourke can threaten to tie up JoJo Siwa, and they're like, we'll give him a few days.
And it's interesting for
see if he does it.
Yeah. But like, see, it's interesting for shows like that where it's like the whole point basically is like the people in the room are deciding who leaves that week, you know? And so it's the whole show's a social experiment.
Yes.
You want to see what happens when you put a group of strangers together, who's going to pair off, who's going to work together, who's going to be enemies. Like you want to see the social stuff of it. Like that's what it is. And part of it is when someone is being bad, then the group punishes them by voting them out. And so it's the type of thing where for shows like that, where it's like, where is the line for like production to decide for them to step in versus do you let them organically be like, he did something wrong, we're voting him out.
Yeah. You know my view on it. I think that they should, what Mickey Rourke said, I think that's like one of the rare instances where I'm like, kick him out.
Kick him out.
He's threatening violence.
Yeah.
The other stuff, I'm like, if somebody's a racist, let him be racist and let him get kicked out. Like
let him get kicked out.
Let it be a free for all.
Like you want it to be like, you want the group to self-correct.
Yeah.
You want everyone to be like, this is wrong. And that's the lesson is that this is wrong.
And that happens.
And we're all taking a stand against it. Yeah.
It's funny. So the first season I ever watched of the show. And again, if you don't, I think we're describing it in a way or talking about it in a way where it's not like you have to see it, but
I know. I love Big Brother. I've been watching it for years.
I love it now too.
Yeah.
But the first season we ever watched together, there had never been a black winner.
Yeah.
And so of the was it 20 people to start?
I always forget. Is it like 16?
I think it's like 20.
Maybe.
Whatever.
It's around there. Yeah.
I think it's 20 because I don't think it was, I think there were 8 members in. Basically, you form these alliances. Like sometimes they're secret, sometimes they're not. And there was this amazing alliance where it was all the black players and they called themselves the Cookout. And they were like, there's going to be a black winner this season.
Yeah. And it was one of the best strategies I've ever seen on Big Brother.
It was really good because it's not like they were like, hey, let's all hang out together. We're a best friend group. They all just kind of did their own thing, but secretly knowing it's the Cookout.
Yeah.
So all of
and even some of the people in the group didn't like agree or like with each other. Like they kind of were like, I don't really like you.
Some of them were enemy alliances.
Yeah. But they were like, at the end of the day, like we made this alliance for a reason. And so they stuck to it. It was really cool.
And so they stuck to it. It actually worked. And it would have been super not entertaining if they hadn't then blended in with all the other 5,000 alliances that are formed. So you had basically 8 straight weeks of betrayal where, one guy and basically a black guy and a white guy would be like best friends in the game.
They all paired up basically as outside of their alliance.
They all like their best friends.
They picked one other person outside of the alliance to be their number one.
Yeah.
And then
huge win for diversity.
Yeah.
It was a huge win for Hands Across America.
Yeah.
But no, because then slowly but surely the Asian guy gets axed. They just kept on doing it until, and the funniest part to me, this was the funniest season I ever watched to me it was such a sensitive topic.
Yeah.
That eventually some of the players who were left were kind of you had to be sort of picking up on something's going on here. They couldn't say it.
Because I feel like there was one thing that wasn't talked about actually was that there was one girl who was part black who wasn't in the alliance.
Wasn't in the group.
And and then I think she kind of had made an offhanded joke, is that what's happening here? And she was the only one who was able to kind of say it.
Yeah. And the Asian guy too, who was so nice. Xavier or X?
Derek X.
He's the one he said it in the most politically correct terms. Did you guys,
yeah.
Are you guys noticing anything?
Nobody said. Nobody wanted to point it out.
So it's pretty clear if you just look around visually. Something's happening, but you couldn't say it. So every season though now, so that's what ended up happening. Every season now, honestly, I think, at least one white player gets in trouble because they'll secretly confide to another white person, be like, "Do you think all the black people are getting together?"
Yeah.
Because if you want to win the game, you need to know is there a secret alliance?
Think there's a secret alliance?
And one guy got kicked out.
I know, because
they're you're racist for suggesting that what happened last season could be happening this season. And I'd be this is so unfair. And that was actually one of the few times where I was if I was a producer on the show, I would have a secret rule and be like, you cannot have race alliances.
Yeah.
You just can't.
I think in one of the early seasons, they did do one like that where they actually, because every season they'll kind of do like somewhat of a twist. But I think they did one where it was like everyone started out in groups, and I think that they did it based on race. Where they were like, they made like race wars in the house. Well, where they were like, this is the Asian group, this is the white group, this is the Hispanic group. Like,
I mean, that's what happens in prison. Like that's sort of
it's kind of a prison experiment.
It's the natural. It's clearly the natural human. Put a bunch of random people in the room. People are going to separate by what they look like. And it's not good. It's not a good thing. It's one of the reasons why I really don't want to go to jail.
Yeah.
Because
I don't want to join the white gang.
I think you basically
have to.
You kind of have to. And then when you get out of jail, they're always like, wow, this convict really turned his life around. Not the white guy. Because the white guy's got a bunch of tattoos that aren't very
super
PC.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can be in the was it the Black Gorillas? That's like the big prison gang. You can't really be in the white power one and then become an assistant manager at Staples. You just can't really, there's not real trajectory there.
No.
So that's why I don't want to go to prison.
Yeah. That's your reason.
For the job opportunities. It really limits my opportunities. I always wonder what it's like for like the one Korean guy.
I know. I feel like they've got a crew.
I've read enough about it that there's an other group.
Yeah.
Which, what a fun group that is.
Yeah.
I wonder if they would let me join the others.
You could be in the others.
Like, I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of like, I'm with you guys, right? Yeah. It's like the Native Americans, Asians. Cody.
Yeah.
Cody's just wild, man.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I feel like you would run prison.
I would run prison.
Yeah.
Would I run prison? I might just be like super sweet.
You'd be a really good number 2, I think.
Yeah, I think I'd be, because I'm really organized.
You're very organized. You'd be a good lookout because you're very anxious.
Yeah. I think I would be like a really good, like, I'm always collecting information.
Yeah. I think I would
because people always tell me their secrets. I'm one of those people where like people just tell me things.
People tell me things too. And the thing is though, I don't remember them.
I know, you just put them out of your mind.
But I think that's why people tell me stuff. Because like,
I've collected, I've like paid like books of information on people. Like
I have stuff I'm trying to forget.
I've actually kind of gotten to the point in my life where I'm like really trying to let go of a lot of that information that I know about people, even like people I don't even have in my life anymore, because I realized I'm like, that was something I learned about someone like 10 years ago, 8 years ago. And I'm still associating them with that. And I'm like, that's not them. Obviously.
That's why I don't want to know.
Yeah. And I'm like, I'm thinking about them in this way that maybe wasn't a very nice piece of information. And I'm like, yeah, but that was years ago, and they've obviously changed and grown.
I've always felt so bad for you because you married a guy who is so anti-gossip. Yeah. Which isn't fun because you love the juice.
Hey, but now it's your job, bitch.
Now it's now I can speak it. I don't like to hear it. But it's worked out great, especially since we've gotten engaged and stuff, where it's like my family knows this. So my siblings and parents and whoever, they'll just tell you the juice. Yeah. I don't have to be the filter because nothing's going to get through my filter.
I know what goes on in your family.
Yeah. You know more than I.
I forgot what it was, but there was one point where we were talking to your mom about something, and you were like, what? And I was like, yeah. Like I already had known. And you were like, wait, what? Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh yeah, I didn't tell him. Like,
yeah. Why tell me? Don't tell me. I don't want to look at anybody different. I want to just be with a family member or something. Uh-huh. When it's like, oh yeah, and by the way, they did this really bad thing. I'm like, yeah. Am I supposed to do something about that? Like,
yeah. Or I would just, in prison, I would just be an absolute freak, and then I would be the top bitch. And like, I feel like an animalistic side of me might come out.
I think week 1 through week 7, I'd be really worried about you. I'd keep on going in. Yeah. And I'd be like, you don't look so great, baby. Uh-huh. You look like
you're scared.
You're scared. And then one week I'd show up and you'd be kind of like leaning back in your chair. Yeah. And you'd be like, sup, boo.
Or they would be like, hey, you actually can't come visit her for a couple weeks. She lost her privileges because she actually bit off a girl's finger.
She bit off a girl's finger. But then I'm saying like the next time I see you, you'd have some new jewelry on. Yeah. You know? There'd be some shy woman kind of standing like 10 feet and 5 feet diagonal to you. And I'd be like, who's that? And be like, oh, her? Don't worry about her.
That's my business associate.
That's my business associate. She's watching.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so do you need anything from the commissary? And you'd be like, no.
No, I'm good.
The commissary? You mean my store?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm fine. I think I'll be A-okay, babe.
Be A-okay.
But so anyway, back to Mickey Rourke. Back to why Mickey Rourke or Jake Paul is Mickey Rourke.
Oh, yeah.
Mickey, if you don't know who Mickey Rourke is, you know him from like, he was the bad guy in Iron Man 2. Uh-huh. And he was in the movie The Wrestler, which was like a Best Picture nominee. Nobody saw it. But he was like the hot thing in like the 70s and 80s. Uh-huh. He was Glenn Powell.
Yeah.
Where everybody's like, well, if Mickey's in it,
then I'll
like,
go see it.
I'll go see it.
Yeah.
And so then he decided, I'm going to be a boxer, and got his face broken like a bunch of times. And that's why his face looks broken.
Yeah.
And he has crazy CTE and brain damage. He's no longer the pretty boy.
No.
So it's going to be a different type of role. And now he's just an insane, like he's literally punch drunk. He's like a 75-year-old boxer when he could have been George Clooney. Uh-huh. And he decided to become a boxer. And that's why Jake Paul, it's so funny to me. It's like, what? Why?
Yeah.
Why are you choosing to get hit in the face? Like, dude, just make YouTube videos.
I know.
Life's good,
I think some guys are just like that though, where they're like, they need the crazy, the adrenaline, I don't know.
Take it from an injured man. It's not worth it, man.
I was gonna say, those are the boys where it's like, honey, go join the Navy. Like, go do something. Like,
oh my God, join the what do you call it? Ultimate Frisbee League.
Yeah, something.
Get it out on the
Get it out.
Get out on the discs.
Do we even talk about how you hurt your ankle?
No, we haven't. What are we talking about?
I just was like, we kind of rolled past that.
We were at
an 8-year-old's birthday party this
our
weekend.
nephew's 8-year-old birthday party. Mm-hmm. It was at one of the trampoline zones.
Yeah.
A place I fantasized about.
Yeah.
I love trampolines. I love to fly. I'm good at them. And I was showing off.
You were showing off. I will say that. You got cocky.
I got cocky. And I tried to make a turn. The way it's laid out was like a checkerboard where you have trampolines and then kind of non-trampoline just as the lines separating them. And I was like, I think I can hit every one bounce.
Yeah.
Which is tough. Only real athletes can do it. I can do it. So I can still do it with one leg.
Okay.
I would bet so much I could do it with one leg because I'm a real athlete. And I decided to show off and I was like, I'm going to turn right. And I think I might have dislocated my ankle.
And then it went right back.
And then went back in. So I subluxed it essentially. Uh-huh. And I immediately, midair, felt the pain. And it was like one of those things where I was in the air for like an hour and away.
Yeah.
And I was like, you fucking idiot.
Yeah.
When you're a kid, you broke your wrist when you were a kid, right?
I did, yeah.
As much as it sucked.
And fingers, but.
As much as it sucked, wasn't it kind of fun? Because you go into class and you got a cast. Like it's not fun, but it's like.
When you have a cast as an adult.
It's such a bitch.
Like, it's truly, because when you're a kid, it gets you out of stuff.
Yeah.
When you're an adult, it's just an inconvenience.
When you're a kid, people sign your cast, you tell the story.
Yeah.
It's kind of a fun, oh, cool, I have a cast.
Yeah, it's bright green.
It's bright green. Sometimes they glow in the dark or you can swim with them. There's all these different little fun casts. They make casts real fun for kids. When you're an adult, it's like, hey, you're still going to work on time, right?
Yeah.
You still have to do all the stuff you have to do, except you still have to do the laundry, except now it's going to hurt.
Yeah.
It sucks. You never know when then I have to remind myself, you have to learn those lessons again.
Yeah. Every now and then you just have to be humbled. So Coachella weekend just finally happened.
Ooh.
You know, you've never been to Coachella, right?
No.
Neither have I.
I've been a Stagecoach though, which is the one right after Coachella.
Yeah, I've like done other festivals, but for some reason.
And just working in digital media, I've covered Coachella a lot.
Yeah, I feel like Coachella is something where it's like I'm very in tune with it, but like for some reason I've just never been like, oh, we should go, or like I want to go. I'm just always like, oh yeah, it's Coachella.
The problem is I never am like, this lineup is great.
Yeah, but I feel like there's always enough people and it's just like fun to go to festivals, but like for some reason I think I'm just always like, oh, it feels like tough to get there, and like
it's tough to get. It also it feels like one of those things. I don't know. Like other music festivals you go to for the festival experience, but also it's like, and I like these artists and there are people who also like these artists. It feels like Coachella, I don't know. It just doesn't feel like a music festival.
No, it's kind of like a big social event.
It feels like a big Met Gala carpet.
I'm really all for people going all out with their outfits at Coachella.
Of course.
I think last year the cool thing to do was to like dress casual and normal. And I will say, like, obviously wear whatever you want. Like if you just want to go casual, of course go casual. But I will say in life, there's only so many chances to dress up and wear crazy stuff.
Yeah.
You should take the opportunities to dress crazy when you can.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Because I feel like everyone dresses so like now that but just like casual and whatever.
Yeah.
And like if you're at like a nice restaurant even, I'm like, why are people so dressed down now?
When we go out,
we live in Vegas and sometimes I'm like, God damn, where's everyone's heels?
I totally agree. Yeah. It's like a statement of being like, I'm not like one of those.
Yeah. And it's like, guys, like you're going to be 70 one day and be like, damn, why didn't I put on the mini dress and the knee-high boots?
Isn't it funny how for guys, like the nice t-shirt for guys is basically where it's like, if it's not the shape of a normal t-shirt, people are like, wow, it's probably really expensive.
Yes.
And it's like, why? Because it's not what everyone's agreed is the best shape of t-shirts.
Yes.
It's longer than what?
It's a little bit longer.
It looks
like
stupid as hell.
Wider around the neck or like something. Yeah.
Do you know how silly I feel? I have like a few shirts where the neck got kind of stretched. I don't wear them.
No.
I'm like, why am I showing my décolletage?
Yeah.
Is that the term?
Décolletage, or I was going to say clavicle.
Why am I showing my clavicle?
Yeah.
I'm an adult man. What am I doing here?
But I feel like some people started to dress back up again this year.
Yeah.
Which do that. If you're going to an event, dress up. It's fun. You will regret not doing it.
Yes.
But I will say I didn't see any like super awesome outfits.
Yeah.
Normally I feel like you used to like be like, okay, what did all the influencers wear? Like I feel like the like 2010s YouTubers really carried Coachella on their back.
Yeah.
And it's just not happening anymore because they're older and like whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just don't feel like I saw any like, oh my God, did you see what so-and-so wore this year? Like no one's outfits in my head anymore.
Yeah. I wonder why.
I don't know.
I think it's just style comes and goes.
I guess so.
But if it's like supposed to be like recession fashion again, that was kind of where people go all out, right?
Yeah.
People do go crazy.
You want that. Yeah.
I think it's because the people who are wearing the outfits aren't really feeling the recession so much.
Yeah, it's true.
They haven't gotten the news.
It hasn't been affected to them yet.
No. Yeah, no, they're kind of immune to it.
But so for Coachella, I'm trying to think of what some highlights were. Megan Thee Stallion, she brought out Queen Latifah.
Ooh.
So
people always forget Queen Latifah's a musician.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that until like a few years ago.
Really?
I know her as being a hilarious comedian.
Yes, that is true. Because you know what? She's one of those people where she was so good at like being a comedian and like an actress that it's like, you kind of forget that, no, she's...
Well, she also, she was, in hindsight, she was only a musician for like an album, right?
No, she had a lot of music.
A lot of music?
Yeah.
Like many albums?
I'm pretty sure.
Because in my head, she was more like Michael Keaton, where it's like Michael Keaton was a stand-up comedian.
Yeah. No
one knows that. He was a stand-up comedian for like 4 years, got a sitcom, and just stopped. And now he's an actor and a comedian and stuff, but it just, you're like, oh wait, he started off in a totally different place.
But yeah, so Megan Thee Stallion brought her out on stage. That was fun. Missy Elliott came out like a transformer. Did you see that one?
I did not see that.
She basically came out in like a car and then like, because Missy Elliott's just the coolest.
Missy Elliott is really cool.
Look at her. That was so cute.
She's trying to breastfeed on you?
I don't know what that was. She was just resting her head between my breasts. But yeah, Missy Elliott's so cool.
Missy Elliott's so cool.
I would love to go see her live.
She's the automatic supersonic funky fresh, right?
Yeah.
She's really good.
That's Sierra.
Okay, yeah.
But she's on that song.
And then
Sierra also came out with Megan Thee Stallion.
Ooh.
Because Sierra is ready to come back to music.
Finally.
She's done having those babies. Everyone's like, Russell, stay off of her.
Well, I mean, you wonder, so Sierra, assuming she, obviously they have a different sort of situation, but assuming she basically followed Russell with his teams. Her husband, by the way, is quarterback Russell Wilson, if you don't know who he is. He's quarterback in the NFL. So
I think we've covered them a couple times.
We have, but you never know. Meet new listeners and stuff.
That's true.
So she lived in Seattle, Denver, Pittsburgh, baby. Now they're in New York City.
Yeah.
That's a pretty, I wonder how much that affected their decision.
Probably a good amount. And also I feel like they kind of went boom, boom, boom with kids.
Yeah.
And so she probably was like, let me take a sec.
Yeah.
Have some babies and then come back.
Yeah. Be married to an NFL quarterback. Pretty cool.
A really nice guy.
Really nice guy.
Yeah. But yeah, so she was there. I'm trying to think. There was Kendall Jenner was on anti-duty this weekend at Coachella.
She was watching Stormy.
Yes, she took Stormy baby to go see Travis Scott, her dad.
Oh my God.
Because Kylie was there with Timothy Chalamet. And so they were out like gallivanting and being cute.
What type of music do you think Timothy Chalamet likes?
You know what?
Why Mumford and Sons?
No, I actually was going to say, I wouldn't be shocked if he's like, I love K-pop. Like,
no, yeah, like
you know,
he kind of, whatever it is, I think you'll be shocked.
I think so too. I think he really is like a man of all tastes.
Yes. I mean, he's a big sports guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which shocked me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought Kylie Jenner and Timothée Chalamet were super cute this weekend. They were all over each other.
How did Kendall do with Stormy?
I think good. She was with one of her friends. They put Stormy up on their shoulders.
Yeah.
And they, watched his set. And then I think Kendall Jenner was just slinging 818 tequila the rest of the weekend.
I was going to say, this was more of a work trip for her.
Yeah.
I know it's her dad. How safe do you think the Travis Scott concert is for her child?
Speaking of Coachella, let's just talk about this right now.
Yeah.
Coachella was designed by Travis Scott this year. It was like Desert by Travis Scott.
They went back to the Travis World thing?
If you look at the bottom of the poster, it literally like says that. Like look, you have the poster in front of you?
Yeah. What?
You see that? What's that? What's that? We're okay with just handing him back festivals after Astro World?
It's one thing to have him on, which already is
I'm like, that was a really quick turnaround. That's where I turn into the like, I hate the hypocritical shit with how hard we are on like women and stuff like that when they mess up. Cause I'm like, the Kardashians got more flack for Astro World than he did.
They get more flack for everything.
Like anyone in their sphere does something wrong. It's like for the Balenciaga stuff that happened, everyone was blaming Kim Kardashian when it's like, you think she designed the campaigns? Also, Nicole Kidman was just as involved with Balenciaga and nobody talks about Nicole Kidman.
You know what though? I have to say, we're at the point now where I think that the Kardashians, and I mean this with all love, kind of have to get over the fact that everybody blames them for everything.
No, I think
it's just the way it's going to be.
I think that just is, but it's
just
one of those
past it.
I just find it so irritating.
Yeah.
I don't know, but can you believe that I thought that
insanity.
Travis Scott like touring and doing music again was way too soon, way too fast, like after the Astro World situation.
Oh, it really was. Well, all right, correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't there a thing like a year ago, 2 years ago, where people were like, Coachella's kind of over?
Yeah, I think that was last year when everyone was like, I'm dressed in cash.
So this might be sort of like a desperate play.
Maybe.
Where they're kind of like, hey, because we obviously don't see the numbers, but it's like maybe ticket sales have gone down or they are cheaper. They're not making as much. People aren't begging to play. They're as much.
I do think there was something this year with
and controversy will sell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do think that there was something this year I heard with like the artist pass. So if you're like a celebrity, you can get an artist pass where it's basically like it's VIP. It's made more for celebrities. Like you don't really buy artist pass, you're kind of given them.
Yeah.
It's for the safety of everyone.
Yes.
It sounds like this year a lot of people were kind of able to like buy artist pass. So there was a lot of people in those
the old
sections.
Trump gold card thing.
Yeah. And it's just kind of like, okay, I feel like that does change the dynamics of stuff. And so maybe that was like their play to try to get people to come.
Especially I'd say too that it's kind of worse because the last person I would want to be in the sea of celebrities is the person who can just buy their way in. I feel like that means they're usually very vocal. Yeah. And they're gonna say what's up.
Yes.
So yeah, that's probably pretty unfortunate.
Yeah. Man, there was some TikTok that some girl tried to make to be like, I'm exposing, I love a good, like, I'm exposing people.
Yeah.
Thing. So Alex Earl's sister, of course, Ashton Earl.
Ashton Earl.
You're very familiar.
I know the Earls.
I guess she was like vlogging or something like that. Or whatever. And she, obviously was getting a bunch of footage or whatever. And I think that there was basically this fan who came up and she was like, oh yeah, like let's kind of like vlog or whatever. Like she was just collecting footage. Like, oh, how fun. I'm with a bunch of people. And then that shot of her like didn't make it to the vlog. And she like complained online. And it was like, what?
And people watched it?
But everyone else kind of was like, did you think you were entitled to like be part of this? And like, that kind of seems to be like, people are very now like, you didn't do something right with like a lot of people. And it's like, why are we expecting so much from people? Like there was another.
I mean, I have a whole rant this week about that.
Do you?
Not everything has to be accessible to everyone. I really, we got to move past this. Like, I don't know, the harshest one, it's the thing we've talked about, and this is not what it is, but the most obvious one is the Hooters waitress thing where it's like, you know what?
Yeah.
You don't have big boobs. Maybe it's not for you. Yeah. Like you don't need to sign like a change.org petition. Like about this. Like it just, some things aren't for people and it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
That's like the hot take one, but just like it just feels like everyone's so concerned with the word fair.
Yeah.
And there's a difference between people being assholes and cheating.
Yeah.
Or stealing or something like that. And hey, you know what? You can't play basketball. You're 5'8".
Yeah.
It's just, you know, what do you want?
That's just life.
That doesn't mean that there should be a whole separate league for the 5'8" and below people.
Wouldn't that be so fun though?
It would be adorable. Watch these little guys just running around with a big ball.
They should do a reverse basketball where it's like actually you could only be like 5'5".
Well, they do that for football. In football, there are some colleges, if you're smaller colleges, they'll have, I forget what they're called, but I think they're just basically under 200 leagues.
Okay.
So if you you have to be under 200 pounds to play.
Okay.
So it ends up being like kind of a totally different game because to put it this way, I can't remember actually during COVID when I was so stressed, I lost a lot of weight. I can't remember the last time I was even close to 200. Like I would not be allowed to play in this league.
Yeah.
So it's people like much smaller than me or like the big offensive linemen.
Huh.
It's really fun.
That is fun.
If we do a short person's basketball league, I have one caveat.
Okay.
Raise the hoop. Let's make it real fun. 12-foot hoop.
That'd be really
Let's make the ball bigger. You know what I mean? Like you're going to do it.
Do it. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
That'd be really fun. Whoa. One of those things. I like it.
I like it too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't really feel like too much craziness came out of Coachella this year.
It's not as big of a deal as it used to be. I do think that.
But in a weird way, that actually kind of makes me be like, maybe I will go next year or something like that.
Now it seems more feasible now.
Because I think that's a big thing too with like, I think I'm having a hard time in a lot of public spaces and like concerts and stuff like that, where in like clubs, bars, like whenever we go places, nobody really wants to dance anymore because everyone's too busy filming stuff or they don't want to accidentally be filmed.
Yes.
Which I totally get.
Totally get that.
It's so vulnerable to like feel like someone might film you being like, who's this person?
Yeah, or God forbid you film somebody, but then you don't put it in the video and then
Yeah.
they post a TikTok saying that you're an asshole for not including the picture of them.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I don't know. Like spaces just aren't that fun anymore. Like there was so many crowds I did see at Coachella. Everyone just like the crowd is dead. And it's like the crowd is dead everywhere.
Yeah.
I want that. I want the fun crowds back. I want to dance.
The crowd's been dead for a minute.
We love to dance. It's probably one of my favorite things to do with you is dance.
I am absolutely fine being the only people dancing in front of a whole crowd.
That basically is what we do. And that's one of the main reasons I'm not actually. Yeah, I love like
It's one of the things you like really?
with you.
Yeah, it's really fun.
That was something where I was like, I think we were so on the same page of like we're so okay with being like dorks and the only people doing something.
That's how I seduced you.
Yeah, it is.
My moves.
You're like a bird.
I'm like, what does that mean?
Like they always kind of
peacocking.
Yeah.
Peacocking. And by the way,
you're impressing me with your dance.
By the way, I don't know how to dance.
But that's the best part.
But I'm willing to do it.
The fact that you're so like, I don't know, like out there, like you
yeah.
God forbid a white boy catches a vibe, as the kids would say.
I like ripping it up.
Yeah.
I've never, what's fun? I've literally never once in my life tried to learn a dance move.
Yeah.
Like I don't.
The music's in you, baby.
I never learned like I was never taught how to Dougie. No one ever taught me.
Will you teach me?
Will you teach me how to do it? I don't know how to whip it or nay. What are the other dance?
I don't even know.
The Quan was one, right?
Yeah, I hit the Quan.
I kind of know the first part of Soulja Boy, but I don't know any other part.
Okay.
I basically know that one. I know the two songs where they tell you literally what to do in the most clear-cut instructions of it. To the left now, y'all. Like I know that.
Uh-huh.
But anybody who speaks English should know that.
Uh-huh.
The Spanish speakers have a tough time.
Yeah.
Especially when you hear Charlie Brown and you're like,
nobody knows what that means.
No one knows.
I will say that. Everyone tries to be like, no, this is the Charlie Brown. Everyone does something different for the Charlie Brown during the Cha-Cha slide.
That's a good bit. Is that the Cha-Cha slide? No, that's
Charlie Brown.
No, that's not the Cha-Cha slide. Oh.
What is it then?
I
think it's the Cha-Cha slide.
I'm going to the right now, y'all. That's what I'm doing. To the right now, y'all lyrics.
I think the song might be called something else, but it's the Cha-Cha slide.
No, because I think the Cha-Cha slide.
Which one's the Cha-Cha slide? Are you thinking the electric slide?
Oh, you know what? You're right. It's Casper Cha-Cha slide. You're right.
Yeah.
I think I'm only thinking the electric slide.
You might be thinking of the electric slide.
Never learned that either.
Yeah.
I don't know any of these things.
But yeah, that's the one thing during the Cha-Cha slide. Nobody knows what the Charlie Brown is.
But everyone, every other part of it, it is the one song where it's like, I actually don't like when they play it because I like to improvise.
Yeah.
I'm like,
and the song is suspiciously long.
it's 5,000 verses.
If the song is so long, or not suspicious is the wrong one, but you know,
No, it's suspiciously long. It's like 8 minutes.
It's like a sneaky long song where you don't realize it. You're like, dude, we've been going for 6 minutes. We've done like 6 loops.
It should be at most 2 loops.
Yeah.
And then just end with a Charlie Brown, and then you go back to the thing.
Maybe it's long because it's the song for the people who don't know how to dance. Or
really
comfortable. And so they're like, here's a long instructional song. So that way you feel like you were on the floor for longer than you were during a party or something like that.
It gets everyone on the floor.
It really does.
Because anybody can go to the left and not feel awkward about it.
Yeah.
You know? And then the second they're like, okay, now we're throwing on Cotton Eye Joe. That's when, okay, if you're a nerd, leave. Because I'm about to show you how to Cotton Eye Joe. And the band of Cotton Eye Joe. That's one of the best songs ever. It's a really good song.
Is it? Or is it just weird?
No, Cotton Eye Joe's like a legitimately really good song. And it's weird.
You know what? I guess the
I've been married a long time ago.
The instrument break when they're like that does go pretty hard.
It goes really hard.
You know what? Circling back to the
I remember the first time I heard Cotton Eye Joe. That's how good of a song it was. Go on though.
I was gonna say, circling back to the Paul brothers, I think enough time has passed. Am I allowed to say that Everyday Bro was a really good song?
I don't know that song.
You do. That was like the first of the
Every day, bro.
With like the diss track era when they were doing that. That was like the first of it. I think enough time has passed to admit that It's Everyday Bro was a good song. I enjoyed it.
I think I kind of know what you're talking about. Was it Jake Paul, right? Or both of them?
Yeah. Or was it Logan? Which one was it?
It's about how they're making videos every day, right?
Yeah.
I think so.
It's one of the Paul brothers.
One of the Paul brothers, and they were just explaining what they do. Are we past the era or not of when somebody becomes famous, they take a crack at music? Because I think we might be. Like Hawk Tuah not having an album.
That is true. Hawk Tuah doesn't have an album.
I think the new thing is podcast.
Yeah, that's a little easier.
If you get a little bit of fame.
Brittany Broski just released music.
Okay.
That was an interesting one. She can sing.
So that's the thing. So she can sing.
Yeah. She was a theater kid. So she like has the.
Yeah, I could see that.
We'll see where it goes. But you know, I'm trying to think.
We wish her the best.
We wish her the best, of course.
Yeah.
So on TMZ today, Serena Williams said that when she had her appearance on the Kendrick Lamar's halftime show during the Super Bowl, that actually wasn't meant to be a diss to Drake.
Oh.
I was like, okay.
Sweetie.
I was like, she wanted to be part of it. She said that she's got nothing but love or whatever.
Well, didn't she throw a certain move?
She's crip walking.
She was crip walking. Okay, so that wasn't right. I was like, I knew she threw a move where I thought in my head was like, oh, was it was it like a meant thing for?
But it was during Not Like Us, and so and that's obviously a diss track to Drake. She dated Drake, and so like that was everyone just kind of assumed. So she's saying it's not. Maybe just stay friendly. But I was like, okay, we'll see.
I just feel like if Jennifer Aniston and Angelina Jolie did a single movie where it was a buddy cop thing, and they said they at one point made one reference to somebody named Brad. And then later they came back and said it wasn't about him. I'd be like, fuck off. Yeah. Then you would have changed the name.
We should have an Angelina and Jennifer buddy cop movie.
We should. I actually think they legitimately hate each other.
I think they do too.
And you know what? They really do represent kind of the two different, like two celebrity cliques.
Yes,
like
absolutely.
Kind of edgy and more like bubbly, sunshiny.
Yeah. But we were talking about after the Super Bowl and stuff like that, just speaking of that performance, just the like, how is Drake going to come back from this? Like that type of thing. But I will say, like, after that, he released the song Nokia, and it's been like a hit. It was kind of like the Summer's Back song or whatever. Yeah. And it's been really popular. So it's like, obviously that didn't affect him that much. Yeah. But I'm curious if the feud's going to keep going, because basically right now, I just checked the Billboard Hot 100 chart.
Yeah.
Nokia's number 2. Number 1 is that song Luther by Kendrick Lamar and SZA. And that's number 1 right now. So even though Drake still just released a song, they're still being beat out by Kendrick.
Kendrick and SZA is a pretty lethal combination, though.
I know.
You're not going to really... They're two of the... Are they... Would you technically describe them as different genres? Because Kendrick's more
Kendrick's
generic rap. Kendrick like what rap is.
He's a rapper. She's a singer. But she's more in like the R&B space.
That's what I mean. Like it's a Venn diagram, but they're
They're different types of artists, but they're complementing artists.
Yeah. So she's doing the chorus.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's a pretty, like, that's one of those things where it's like, we need to bring back the super group. You know? Every now and then it happens, but where it's like, Kendrick and SZA, I'd say they're at the top of their careers so far.
Yeah, right now.
Like right now, they're definitely higher up than they've ever been. Still going higher.
Going up.
But if they just all of a sudden were like, from now on, we're called Jelly Beans, and they only make stuff together. Yeah, that'd be really fun. Obviously, there's no like financially, it doesn't make sense to do that.
But every now and then, a joint album's really fun. Like I think.
Well, Jay-Z and Kanye did it.
Yeah, Jay-Z and Kanye did it. Jay-Z and Justin Timberlake they toured together, but they did some
Jay-Z
songs.
and Linkin Park did it.
Yeah.
Jay-Z did it a few times.
Jay-Z likes to team up with someone. He did it with Beyonce.
Jay-Z did it with Beyonce. Yeah. I'm sure he did it with...
Maybe Jay-Z's better in a duo
In
situation.
hindsight, has he ever been solo? Okay, forget everything. No, I love SZA.
Whatever the group is, just add Jay-Z.
This is one of those artists where like you'll play a song and they'll be like, who is this? Yeah, and half the time it ends up being SZA.
You love SZA. She's one of the people where,
Drew Barrymore's like my favorite song ever.
Yeah.
Start the knock goes up on episode 1. I love her. She's great.
She's great.
So I assume you've seen it, the Time 100 Most Influential People came out. And I assume you've seen the thing I'm going to bring up.
Actually, no, I didn't even look at it today. I was like, maybe we'll look at it on the podcast. You tell me what we saw. Okay,
so I was going to come up with a game for it, but I'm more just kind of freeball this.
Actually, I did see one person that I'm like, that's not an influential person.
Which one?
Rashida Jones.
Okay, well that's the thing. So they separate them into
genres, like categories.
Artists, icons.
Oh yeah.
Leaders, titans, and pioneers and innovators. So let's just start with structure of list. Pioneer and innovator are synonyms.
I was going to say, I would put them in the same.
People who break ground.
Yeah.
Is what it is. Pioneer literally means like you're the first person to try something.
Yeah.
And an innovator is somebody who basically invents something. It's kind of like inventing, AKA the first person to do something. So they mean the same thing. And if you're like, well, wait a minute. Okay, Michaela, why don't you just check the list and maybe it'll be a clearer
difference.
Clearer difference. You can see where they're going for this. No. Because do you know an artist named Rose?
Yes, she's a K-pop girly.
So, for example, Rose obviously goes in the pioneer category. She's not an artist, she's a pioneer. Whereas Snoop Dogg is an innovator. So, because we all know that Snoop Dogg is constantly coming out with new inventive stuff.
It's because he should be in the icons category.
He should be in the advertisement category. Yeah.
Him, Shaq.
Yes.
Ice-T.
Yeah. Who's in every commercial? So the artist category, it's really funny to me because basically there's one serious category. That's leaders.
Yeah.
AKA actually influential people. And it's the people you'd think. It's like Trump, JD Vance, Elon Musk. Like, yeah, of course they're
in that.
They're the 3 most influential people. Maybe not JD Vance, but it's like Elon Musk and Trump and Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin are the most influential people in the world. There's no
easily.
And Netanyahu.
That doesn't mean like,
maybe
we're all fans of them. That means no, they're literally influential to what happens in the world.
Of course. They're literally, so them, and then they have a bunch of other like, Claudia Scheinbaum, the who obviously the second you say the name, Scheinbaum, you think Mexico.
Mexico, yeah.
Now, let me just go through some of the artists.
Yeah.
Ed Sheeran, okay.
Yeah. Whenever he has a song, it goes to the
I'd
charts.
say Ed Sheeran's very influential in music.
Yeah.
Scarlett Johansson, I don't really know what she influenced, but
isn't this supposed to be for the year?
For the year, yeah.
What did she do this year or in the past year?
Girl, I don't know.
So that's where I don't like it. Where I'm like, yeah, she's great.
Yeah. But then you have
she didn't have like a crazy year.
Like an example would be like Adam Scott's on it. Okay, he's in Severance, huge show.
Severance was huge this year.
I would argue Ben Stiller's more influential than he is.
I agree.
For Severance.
But he belongs on the list.
But count it. Yeah, that's fine. But then you have like Kristen Wiig. When has she done anything at all recently? I love Kristen Wiig.
No, I love her too, but when was the last time she's
I would have heard about it. I feel like, right? Maybe she's making a comeback. Hosier. A lot of people really like him. I think he makes stuff all the time.
He did have, I guess he had an album this past year.
And then a bunch of people who I don't know that you probably do know.
Isn't Hosier Irish? He's one of your guys?
He's definitely not. I think he might be Irish. Mm-hmm. All I know is I know Take Me to Church.
Yeah.
I like that song.
I like his new song, Too Sweet. It's pretty good.
Is it like Take Me to Church?
It's a little bit, I don't want to say it's upbeat.
Then I have no use for it.
That's why I just say, don't want to say it's upbeat because it's not upbeat, but it's a little bit more upbeat. It's not as like, but it's like.
I want a build up to Take Me to Church. I love that song.
I like this song.
That was one of those songs where it was just at the edge of where guys started being like, he's gay, right?
Yeah.
That's the funniest. I feel like I've told the story before. Just somebody telling me when Frank Ocean was his Thinking About You song.
Uh-huh.
And somebody's like, he's gay, right? He's talking about a dude. And I remember being like, that affects me zero.
That affects this zero. I still really like this song.
I like this song. I never loved that song. I love Frank Ocean. I love his other music. That song after a while is kind of like, the real controversial one is the Titans category.
Yeah.
What is a Titan in your head?
Just like a someone in tech, like a business like a CEO, like a
I think it's
or like someone who's founded a really big company this year. I guess that's a CEO founder. Like,
it's a big shot.
Yeah.
In an industry.
Yes. Industry leaders. Yeah.
Like the two Titans that make sense in this are Mark Zuckerberg is a Titan.
That's a Titan.
Joe Rogan is a Titan.
Absolutely.
Which is funny. Just that Joe Rogan is a Titan anywhere, but he is. He's a podcast Titan. He's the number one in this. Serena Williams is a Titan in this. While I
would have put her in icons.
I would have put her in icon too, because I don't really know what she's leading.
Yeah.
Like I think she's the definition of she's incredibly influential.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd put her in the top 100 in the world for this year.
Yeah.
I just don't know what she's influencing.
I was just going to say.
Besides people liking her.
Like, I guess she's like a Titan in her sport. And so it's like,
but
maybe
she retired.
That's, I guess.
Because
so I would just, you're right. I would just put her in icons.
Like you could put, using that argument, Simone Biles is the Titan here.
Yeah. That makes more sense.
Because she did compete in the Olympics. So it's like, okay.
That's actively, yeah.
But next year, she's no longer, I assume she's retired now. Next year, she's no longer a Titan.
Yeah.
She'd be more icon status. I'm gonna name a few people that aren't on the influential list anywhere. Not artists, leaders, innovators, pioneers, nothing.
Okay.
Bernie Sanders isn't, even though I don't know if he's the leader of the Democratic Party.
He was at Coachella.
He is a bigger deal right now at 97 years old. Mm-hmm. He is the de facto leader of the Democrats, not the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
But he's who people are going to go see.
Yeah.
He's clearly very influential.
Very.
Beyonce and Taylor Swift, neither of them on this list.
Weird.
In any category. But in the Titans category, what you do have is Blake Lively.
Oh, that's what I did see. Yes.
Yeah, I was like, there's no way you didn't see it.
So that makes me think that a lot of these are bot slots.
I mean, it's the most, if there's zero chance anymore that you could deny this isn't something you buy.
She keeps popping up on stuff like there's all these publications that try to write stuff in defense of Blake, and it's so clearly they're being paid. It really drives me bonkers.
Girl,
the best thing she should do is just kind of disappear.
Yeah, go
she
away for a
needs
minute.
to stop pretending that everything's fine and I'm normal and blah blah blah.
Yeah, the article that was written, so they write a little bio. So
and maybe that's the other part where some people are left off is that they are I don't have time for an interview or whatever.
Yeah, maybe, but that's not. It's not like an interview. It's just a brief summary that they get another celebrity to write about. It just makes no sense to me. I wouldn't say Blake Lively isn't in Taylor Swift's top 3 most influential friends.
No.
But she's on the top 100 in the world?
No, she hasn't been a director yet, as much as she wants to pretend she is.
She's a problem.
She just released 2 companies in the past year that completely tanked.
And also the big thing that's going on.
Yeah. She's not winning the public opinion. That's the opposite of influence.
And if they had embraced that and said she's very influential because she's affecting a public opinion, whether positive or negative, that's one argument. But the article, it's the funniest thing ever.
Oh God.
It's basically the person saying, I don't know the Blake Lively of the red carpet or the Met Gala. I never watched Gossip Girl. The Blake Lively I know is a philanthropist and a student of our country's most intractable problems. She and her husband, Ryan Reynolds, reached out in 2019 to make a contribution to the NAACP Legal Defense Fund, and basically talked about how great they are for doing that. Do you know why they did that?
Because was that post their apology for getting married on a plantation?
It was an apology donation. She did it because she was in trouble for race stuff.
Yeah.
so she donated to the most famous race group.
Yeah.
Race
and probably after the L'Oreal True Match Foundation commercial where she was like, my family's Cherokee.
It's literally, it's the equivalent of saying this, this criminal that got arrested and I met them when they were doing community service. Why were they doing community service?
Yeah, why were they doing community service?
Why were they picking up trash in the side? Was it because they really care about the earth, or was it because they embezzled money?
The fact that that's the thing that they're like, because do you know
that's the big one.
What if she had done everything right? Do you know what her big contribution should have been this year?
What?
She made a movie about domestic violence.
Yeah,
and gave a voice to survivors.
Oh my God!
Nope, she did none of that.
If everything had gone how it should have gone. Then this would have been like she's giving a voice to domestic abuse.
Yes, and what an opportunity for her.
Oh my gosh. Somebody gave her the ball for the layup.
Yeah.
And she decided to take that ball, pop it, and then buy an influential spot, and then work with the New York Times to try to defame and accuse a guy of sexual assault.
Yep.
Very influential. She's not even the most influential person in her marriage.
No.
Ryan Reynolds is way more influential.
Yes.
Why is she on the list?
That's why I was like, her literally, she made 2 companies this year. She had a hair care company and a booze company. They both bombed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it makes, when I saw it, I was like, get the fuck out of here. And she's not even in the artist category. She's in the Titans.
Titans of what?
Of what industry? She's not even the leader of her own movies.
I was going to say, isn't that like the whole point of her lawsuit is like nobody ever gives me a chance. Everyone walks all over me. And that's why I'm trying to force my way into being a director because nobody's giving me a chance.
You know who has chances? Titans. Titans are given chances.
Yes.
Titans take chances.
Yeah.
She didn't.
I guess she did take. To be fair.
I think, but she failed.
Yeah.
It's like, she's acting like she wants to be a Titan, but she's not. I don't know. That just blew my mind.
Honestly, I'm jealous of people like her or just her where it's they're so delusional.
Yes.
Of their perspective on themselves.
Yeah. Okay, you ready for sports, guys?
Hit me, sister.
Okay, so the NFL draft is next week.
Yes, and I actually don't know anything about it. So once again, I have a list of questions for you.
Okay, you know what? Then you hit me, sister.
So just starting off easy peasy, what is the NFL draft?
Okay, so the NFL draft is the event where all 32 teams get together and they take turns picking eligible players to join their team. And so that the order that they pick them, it's set up so that the worst team picks first and the best team picks last. So the team that finished with the worst record, they get the first pick, and the team that won the Super Bowl, they get the last pick. So put it this way, if musicians were drafting producers this year, Kendrick Lamar would get the last pick because he won the Super Bowl last year.
Okay.
And a Katy Perry type would get the first pick because it's she needs to have the best producer.
She needs a little help this year.
Let's keep it fair.
Maybe not Dr. Luke this time. Okay, so basically a team picks a player and then they're on a team?
Actually, no, not exactly. So basically when a team drafts a player, they're not automatically on the team. It means that they have the exclusive rights for the next year to be allowed to sign that player. So every now and then, a player will be a holdout. Usually it's for money where they're like, hey, I'm worth more than this. Give me a bigger contract. And so it's sort of an awkward situation because draft picks are really valuable. So if a player, if a first round player, so Joey Bosa got drafted by the San Diego Chargers and they were like, okay, cool. We got Joey Bosa. And he was like, I want a bigger contract. And then they basically he didn't play in training camp. He didn't play in training camp. He didn't sign with the team until really close to the season, maybe a few games into the season. And it's just it's awkward because if they don't sign him, they're screwed. It's hey, by the way, last year's draft, you got no one. Everybody else got a first round pick and you didn't even get one.
Okay.
Basically. And then also sometimes a player will just straight up be I'm not going to play for this team. So in 2003, Eli Manning's dad, Archie Manning, was basically said to the San Diego Chargers, actually, same team, my son's not going to play for your team. So figure out what to do, which left them in a pickle because they're like, well, shit, we drafted him. So they had to make a trade for the Giants. They made a trade with the Giants and it all worked out for both parties.
Okay. Yeah. So Eli Manning's dad's a real dance mom.
He's the real he's the dance mom of football.
Okay.
There are a few, but he's the real dance mom of football.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. What is the combine?
Okay. So imagine you're on a dating app, which you're not, right?
No.
Okay. So imagine if you were on a dating app. Okay. What if you had the ability to get all of your Tinder matches to meet in one place where you can just officially verify everything that they say in their bios?
Oh, okay. It's like a real Bachelor situation.
It's a real Bachelor situation. It's where all of the potential draftees, they go to this one, all the potential draftees go to this one place where they're like measured. They do drills. They see how fast they are, how tall they are, how much they weigh. They take IQ tests. Like they literally just find out everything possible about each player so that each team actually knows like what they're dealing with.
Okay, they're getting the whole scoop.
Exactly. So it's like, oh, you say you're 6 feet? Stand up next to the measuring stick, buddy.
Yeah, we're going to do some fact checking.
We're going to do some fact check. Oh, you say you can run a 4.240? Okay, buddy, show us.
I mean, we all know that men love to say that they're above 6 foot.
Exactly.
What does it mean when they describe a player as a boom or bust?
Okay, so that's a description for players who have like really high potential and then like also a really low floor. Like either they're going to be either they're going to be a star or they're just not going to be in the league in a couple of years. Like there's no like kind of middle ground. They won't be an average player.
Okay.
So like I would describe Billie Eilish as like initially she was sort of like a boom or bust artist, if that makes any sense. Like she's a very unique non-mainstream sound. Either she's going to be Billie Eilish or we would have never heard of her. Like she would have never been sort of like oh yeah, she makes pop music that sounds like pop music. She's in the game, but not really type person. She's boom or bust.
Okay.
Yeah.
She kind of more of an alternative sound.
And she became the biggest thing ever because it caught on.
Yeah.
Every now and then there's like a player where it's like, oh, he's an unbelievable athlete. If he can be coached into figuring out how to like run an NFL offense, like Anthony Richardson for the Colts, where it's like, if he's able to run an NFL offense, he's going to be the best quarterback ever. Right now, the jury's still sort of out, but it's like, no, it's really hard to do that.
Yeah.
You know, he's just an amazing athlete. We'll see if it works.
Okay. So what does it mean when a team says that they're going to go get their guy?
Okay. So that's like a drafting strategy mentality where basically if you're a team and you're like, hey, we want this quarterback, we need this quarterback, you're willing to do whatever it takes, usually overpaying by like trading future draft picks or trading, stars or trading players you already have on your own team to move up in the draft to pick the player that you really want.
Okay.
So like Elle Woods in Legally Blonde is in the definition of someone who is in get their guy mode. Okay.
Yeah.
She was willing to forgo her whole Beverly Hills life she was willing to take the LSATs, go to law school in freaking Boston to get Warner.
Okay, what is a reach?
So like say a team has the 10th pick in the draft and a player is, thought to be like a 25th to 30th pick in the draft. If you pick that guy, you're reaching for him. And when teams do that, they get criticized because it's like, hey, why didn't you just like trade back? Like you could have gotten a lot more and still gotten this pick. Like why would you like get other teams to give you a bunch of draft picks or players or something and then you can move back and pick him the 25th pick or something like that.
Yeah, like leverage it.
Yeah, leverage it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then what is a steal?
A steal is the opposite of a reach.
Okay.
Okay, so a steal is when a player who is supposed to be like a top 10 pick, but for whatever reason, the other teams aren't really drafting him. Sometimes like there was a case where a player, the day of the draft, his social media accounts got hacked and people started posting a bunch of videos they had of him like smoking bongs and stuff. Turns out he's one of the best linemen in the league now, so whatever. But he was supposed to be like arguably a top 3 pick, but all the teams freaked out. Nobody picked him. So I forget who got him, but like in the 13th round or not, but somebody got him with like the 13th pick and was like, okay, what a steal. You just got like a top 3 pick at number 13.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what does best available mean?
Okay. So that's another drafting strategy. That's basically when you are like, okay, I'm going to pick the best player that's still available in the draft to be picked, even if I already have someone who's really good at their position.
Okay.
So it's like, say like we really need a refrigerator and this was just a draft with like a bunch of machines. We already have a car, but there's a Lamborghini on the board. Even though we don't need another car, we're going to take the freaking Lambo. We'll figure out the fridge later.
Yeah.
Like we'll get the Lambo. That's a certain type of drafting strategy that some teams use.
Okay. Who is Mr. Irrelevant?
Okay, so that's the nickname for the last pick in the draft. And they call him that because usually the person who's picked last, you never really hear from again.
Yeah, bestie down.
Yeah, sometimes they don't even make the NFL team. It's just like, yeah, screw it, we'll give him a shot.
Yeah.
The reason why it's like super juicy now is because a former Mr. Irrelevant, Brock Purdy, ended up being the starting quarterback for one of the best teams in the NFL the past few seasons, the 49ers. So, I mean, like the Mr. Irrelevant played in the Super Bowl. And he's about to sign a fat contract with the 49ers this offseason.
Okay.
So it's like, hey, Sometimes that nerdy girl, just take off her glasses and she's actually pretty hot. Don't be, just because he's the last pick doesn't mean he's no pick.
Good. Yeah.
Maybe he's a sleeper, which is another term.
And then what is a draft board?
Okay, so fun fact, NFL teams basically have Pinterest boards.
Oh my God, same.
Yeah, dream boards, okay? A draft board is what an NFL team puts together to be like, this is how we value all of these players. This is the order. So if you're a team that needs a quarterback, you'll probably be like, we'll put the quarterbacks available more towards the top. We'll give them a little bit more weight. If you don't, you're like, I mean, we'll take them if they're still, they're really low. Basically, NFL teams will just make like a dream board of all the players that they possibly want. And as the draft goes on, they'll consult their draft board and be like, okay, next step, who's available? Ooh, this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that.
It's fun to think of NFL teams that way, where it's like they just have Pinterest boards.
Yeah, everyone just has a Pinterest board. Everyone should have a Pinterest board.
A lot of old bald guys with weird facial hair sit in a room and create a big like dream board.
Yeah, they're scrapbooking.
Yeah.
Vision board.
NFL players love to scrapbook.
Yeah, I think that's it for the Bubble podcast.
Yeah, I think that's it.
We're going to be going to the draft next week.
We are. We're literally going to be going to the NFL draft.
No episode next week.
Oh, yeah.
That just dawned on me at this moment. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, no.
We will not be having an episode next week because we will not be here. I didn't even think about that.
We'll be in scenic Milwaukee.
We will.
Or Green Bay.
But we can't wait to report back to you guys.
I cannot wait.
It's going to be a good time, and towel off and maybe stream some of our old episodes if you really miss us.
Stream an old episode. Have a pina colada. It doesn't have to be an alcoholic one. You can go get the pina colada Slurpee.
Yeah.
Which is the most underrated of the Slurpees. It really is. There's a reason why pina colada always stuck around.
That's true.
Because you're like, wow, no, it's really good. All right. See you guys.
Towel off?
Bye-bye. I love you.
You didn't towel off.
Towel off.
There you go.